It was revealed recently in an interview with Mark Ruffalo that the Hulk is going to be getting a 3-movie character arc over the next few films, starting with Thor Ragnarok through Avengers 3 and 4. So today I want to talk about what the possibilities for this are and what I think could make a great character arc for the Hulk over the next few movies. There's been the suggestion of World War Hulk, but that doesn't really work considering what's going to be happening in Avengers 3 and 4. I mean, we don't know for sure what happens in Avengers 4, but presumably setting up a World War Hulk doesn't really make sense when Thanos is supposed to be the big bad of those two movies. So what else could we do? We've got Hulk becoming a part of a team and learning to trust his friends. We've gotten a not very well executed romance between him and Black Widow that could be elaborated on more. And personally, I think the most interesting they could do with the Hulk, considering where his rights lie and what's going to be happening in Avengers 3 and 4, I think the most interesting thing they could do to the Hulk is kill him. And I'm not just saying that as a bland kill him to pump some pointless emotion into the movie. I have an interesting way that they could do this, and I'm going to talk about it in today's episode of Superhero Studies Off the Cuff. I'm Christian Pearson. And I said the title already, so go title. So, to talk about what we should get out of the Hulk in the next few movies, we should go back and see what we've gotten from him already. And I'm kind of going to be ignoring the Incredible Hulk. It is technically a part of the Marvel Cinematic Universe, but it does feel pretty distant from the rest of the other movies, especially because they switched actors. But even going back to that movie, at the end, Banner is kind of back in isolation. He doesn't have any friends or family that he can be around. He's alone. And then jump into Avengers, and that movie for him is really about him learning to trust this team and sort of become friends with them even. And then in Age of Ultron, this is furthered. He has a better relationship with the rest of the team, even though he messes up a bit and feels terrible about it. But then we get him ingrained into the group even further with his romantic connection to Black Widow, which again, I don't think it was very well done, but the romance does make sense in a way. See, the Black Widow and Bruce Banner romance does make sense if you really think about it, but the problem is you have to really think about it. It wasn't presented very well in the movie why these two people love each other. But the way I see it, Bruce Banner has been isolated for so long as the Avengers is starting, and then Black Widow's the one that comes and gets him and brings him into this team, who are now the only people he's comfortable being himself around. Because most of the time they can keep him in check. Even in Age of Ultron, the time that he hulks out is when all his friends aren't with him. And so it makes sense that he would have strong feelings for the person that brought him into this group of people that he's really comfortable with. On the other side of it, Black Widow being interested in Bruce Banner can make sense. They really need to elaborate on it more as to why, if they were going to make it a compelling romance. One idea that could be the case is that she's shown as being afraid of the Hulk, and fear being a strong emotion. You could link the idea that Black Widow doesn't necessarily have a lot of intense, strong emotions because she's this grizzled super spy. So having someone that she's a bit afraid of could actually link back to... maybe not. If I was really gonna elaborate onto this, I'd probably need to take a bit more time, and this is a pretty unscripted episode. So let's just get back to the Hulk and where he could go next. Let's jump forward to Thor Ragnarok, the movie that's just about to come out. What we've heard of him in this movie so far is that at this point, he's been the Hulk for 2 years straight, unable to turn back into Bruce Banner, or maybe unwilling to turn back into Bruce Banner. But if it's the case that he hasn't been able to, it will further cement this idea that he needs his friends, he needs the Avengers to keep him grounded as himself. When they're not around, the Hulk can take over. He needs the support of his friends. And this will be further cemented by Thor showing up and then him finally turning back into Bruce Banner because one of his friends on the Avengers is with him. I guess the arc that I'm proposing isn't exactly one that starts in Thor Ragnarok, it's one that's been going through all the movies. In both Avengers and Age of Ultron, we get scenes where the bad guys turn Hulk against his team. In the first movie, it happens when some of his team is around, which makes sense because he doesn't know them that well yet. In Age of Ultron, it happens when his team isn't around, and once they get to him, he's already the Hulk, and it's harder for him to turn back. And in Avengers 3 and 4, it would be great if we got a scene where the bad guys try to turn Hulk on the Avengers, but Bruce Banner is in control enough that he makes that not happen. He's ingrained into this group enough and feels enough support from them that he can keep himself in control. And this will further cement into his mind how much he needs and loves this group of people and how much he cares about them. So then going into Avengers 4, if there was a situation set up where someone needed to sacrifice themselves for the team, it would make sense for Bruce Banner as Hulk to do this, sacrifice himself to save the only people he really cares about. It would be deeply emotional, and I don't think it's a good idea to always just cram a character death in for emotion, but if they set it up well, it could work. And also, think about what we could get from Hulk after this series. As fans, we've only seen Mark Ruffalo as Bruce Banner in Avengers movies or now in a Thor movie. Even to us as an audience, he only exists as a part of this team. See, the Hulk movie rights are actually co-owned by Marvel and Universal, which is why we haven't gotten a Hulk solo movie since Incredible Hulk, because, as Mark Ruffalo said in an interview a while back, Universal doesn't know how to play well with Marvel Disney. So if we can't get a Hulk solo movie anyway, and they're planning to kill characters in Avengers 3 and 4, and Hulk is only really himself when he's with his friends on the Avengers, then it makes sense that Hulk be the character that dies in that movie, dying for this team. I mean, obviously I'd like us to get Hulk solo movies or him showing up in other characters' movies, but it's been heavily implied that characters are gonna die in this movie. So if a character is gonna die anyway, it makes sense for it to be Hulk, and I'm just proposing this as a way to do it really emotionally. Now I have to admit I am projecting my own emotions a bit because I have an incredible group of friends myself that I would die for in a heartbeat. But I mean, when you really think about it, most people have friends and really care about their friends. So this would be a very relatable way for the Hulk to go out, especially if they do set it up even further over the course of Thor Ragnarok and Avengers 3. But what do you think they should do with the Hulk in Avengers 3 and Avengers 4? Do you think they should just fight to get his rights so they can do solo movies? Would you like to see him in the future doing more team-ups? Let me know in the comments below. Also subscribe and click the bell to get notified when I release more episodes in the future. I have 2 shows currently running, Superhero Studies, which is kind of like this but scripted and has more animations in it, and Superhero Studies Off the Cuff, this show, which comes out on Fridays. Superhero Studies comes out on Wednesdays. I don't know if I said that. Anyway, I'll also be releasing my review for Thor Ragnarok on the Monday after it comes out, and I really hope it's as good as the reviews are saying it is. I'm Christian Pearson, and thanks so much for watching Superhero Studies Off the Cuff.